Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger. Janelle has the night off. Tonight, part of the mystery of what happened to a missing Hardin teen has been solved. Authorities have been searching for 16-year-old Selena Not Afraid since New Year's Day after she reportedly walked away from a rest stop along I-90 in Bighorn County after a night of partying in Billings. Well, this afternoon, Bighorn County Sheriff confirmed that body found this morning about 3/4 of a mile away from that rest area is that of Selena Not Afraid. Q2's Mitch Legge joining us now from the Bighorn County Sheriff's Office in Hardin. Mitch, what can you tell us?
Well, Russ, as you said before, the sad news coming out of Bighorn County tonight, authorities have found the body of missing 16-year-old Hardin girl, Selena Not Afraid. Now, the Department of Interior found her body about 3/4 of a mile near the rest area where she was last seen at about 2 p.m. on New Year's Day. And joining me now is Bighorn County Sheriff Pete Big Hair, excuse me. Thank you for being here with me today. I've got a question for you. Authorities are suspecting no foul play in this case, correct?
Correct. No foul play suspected at this time.
When will you guys know more?
Probably after the autopsies, conducted there in the next couple of days.
Gotcha. So autopsies have to be done to make sure all the T's and I's are dotted, and the community reeling from a loss of a beloved member. What's the mood here today?
I don't know right now since we found her, and I've been busy here. But in the past couple of weeks, did have an effect with their classmates at the high school and all the friends, family. And so with this, finding her puts a closure to that. And tomorrow, we'll have our counselors and stuff visit with the students at the school, at the high school, where she went, Hardin High School.
Gotcha. So if any students are in need of any counseling services, anything like that, they will be made available for them?
Yes.
Gotcha. And anything else you can tell us about this case?
Just that it's a sad time right now, but at the same time, and it's good to have put a closure to this, And she's a niece of mine, and it's really pretty hard to deal with.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much.
I'm just glad that we found her. I didn't want to, quit searching until we found her, and we did. So I'm just thankful to the agencies that assisted us, the FBI, the Department of Interior, search teams, all the agencies, BIA law enforcement, everybody involved, all the volunteers that helped on the search and everybody. So I'm just thankful for everybody and the people that donated, just thank them all.
Gotcha. Well, thank you so much, Sheriff. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Russ, that's about all here from Bighorn County. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Mitch. We'll have more on this story tonight at 10 o'clock. Well, Americans are pausing to remember Martin Luther King Jr., the civil rights leader, with ceremonies across the nation today. The holiday began at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial in Washington, D.C., with music and prayer. As members of the King family joined community leaders to lay a wreath, President Trump and Vice President Pence also paid a visit there. Well, the holiday is a celebration of Dr. King's legacy. It's also a day of service for many people who took part in community projects. Well, the power of one voice can move mountains. That's what Montana State University Billings has been instilling in its students today, especially in remembrance of the great Martin Luther King Jr. Q2's Madison Morgan has more.
Montana State University Billings held a bell-ringing ceremony earlier this morning to honor the late Martin Luther King Jr. On this day, MSUB staff and community members remembered Martin Luther King Jr.'s activism and bravery many years ago. However, instead of just honoring MLK today, MSUB is holding events all week long to put the focus on the principles MLK embodied.
I am so happy that MSUB does this because we are such a college about being engaged in our community, and this day really kicks it off to show how prevalent it is that we need to be in our community, serving some time to make it better.
The goal of MSUB's Power of One Week is to put the focus on the students. MLK believed in one voice, and in college, we often have this voice, but we don't know how to use it.
Everybody can be great, because anybody can serve.
This week is to educate students on the importance of voting and voter registration.
There's things that aren't working out for us. They used to back then, but now it's time for us to see what we want and work together to find that change. And it really comes down to voting.
With the elections coming up quickly, this will be many college students' first time voting.
Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education.
In Billings, Madison Morgan, MTN News.
All right, thanks, Madison. MSUB will be holding several other events this week to help encourage students to vote and be engaged in their community. Well, a new trade agreement with China has put the brakes on more aid for farmers in the United States. Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue announced today that there is no need for a third year of aid to farmers. The Trump administration gave farmers a lifeline 2 years ago after exports fell off due to the U.S.-China trade war. Last week, the two sides signed phase 1 of the agreement, and China is expected to pick up purchases soon. According to the Montana Free Press, Montana farmers received more than $100 million from the federal government last year. All right, turning to weather now. Chief Forecaster Bob McGuire joining us. Bob, really nice warm-up out there today. Big difference from where we were this year at this time.
You know, I'd forgot about it until we looked it up, but wait till you see what we had on Martin Luther King Day last year. It was actually on January 21st. And look at this. This is what we had. 32 degrees was our high temperature, but we had 6.2 inches of snow that day. Yeah, it was really coming down that day. Now, as you'll notice the last week, it's been kind of cold. These are our reported highs just last week, starting on Tuesday on the 14th, and you know, it had 8 degrees by Wednesday. On Thursday, it was 24 degrees, 27 on Friday, but we did see overnight lows into the teens below zero earlier last week. And so here's the way things are shaping up now. Our high temp today, yeah, much better, 45 degrees. But get this, here's the rest of the week ahead, 47 tomorrow, 44 on Wednesday and Thursday, but by Saturday, we're getting back up to about 50 degrees for the high temperature, maybe 49 on Sunday. So it looks like we've made it through the coldest part of the storm. Back to you, Russ.
All right, thank you, Bob. Well, Montana health officials reporting the first flu-related death in the state for the 2019-2020 flu season. According to the Department of Public Health and Human Services, the victim was an adult over the age of 65. Officials didn't say in which county that death occurred. Montana has seen more than 1,600 cases of the flu this season. 102 people have been hospitalized. Here in Yellowstone County, we have seen more than 280 cases of the flu so far. The elderly and young children are the most susceptible to the flu. Well, the American Red Cross extending an urgent call for donors of all blood types to give blood. In a press release they sent out this afternoon, stating that since influenza has been escalating across the country, it's preventing some donors from giving. And to complicate matters, wintry weather across the U.S. has slowed blood drives, causing a critical shortage of type O blood. Here in Billings, Vitalant says they too just got out of a month-long urgent call for donors for type O blood and deal with that issue not only in the winter months but year-round. Vitalant says they need at least 150 donors daily to meet the needs of the region, and they're always looking for not only type O but all blood types to donate. High schoolers from around the state are competing in the annual Business Professionals of America Conference. That event got underway at 8 o'clock this morning at CMR High School in Great Falls. Around 300 students from various Montana high schools compete in 60 different competitions. It highlights their business judgment. Some repeat competitors are reflecting on the lessons they've learned from past conferences.
My first year, it was a ton of fun, but I definitely feel like every presentation I give, every test I take, each one is just preparing you a little bit more for the realistic future out in the real world. So I'm super excited about that.
I've learned a lot in the business field and all the realm of how large the business field is. And I've also learned on a social level how to network with other students, adults, professionals in the business world.
Well, the competition was a closed event. The public did attend an awards ceremony that was held late this afternoon. Well, there is more news from across the state on the MTN 9 o'clock news. Communities remembering Martin Luther King Jr. all across the Treasure State. We're going to take you to some of the celebrations. Join me for the 9 o'clock news on the CW. But first, still to come on tonight's 5:30 news. Years of World War II letters found and now turned into a book to help other veterans. And in sports, girls wrestling and powerlifting get the green light on becoming high school sports in Montana. Scott will have it.
You're watching MTN News with Janelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.